Up next, we have a little bit of an emotional break, let's say. We have John Straley with us, who's going to give us a little bit of poetry. Before we get there, I just want to take a brief pause and thank our summit sponsors and our network sponsors. Our network sponsors, as you've heard many times and see on your screen, we can't thank them enough. That's Sea Alaska, the University of Alaska Southeast, Alaska Airlines, and GCI, more wonderful local businesses. And our summit sponsors today who are helping us on this third and final day of the Innovation Summit, that's the Juneau Radio Center, Tidal Vision, Work for the Willing, Coast Alaska, Buy Alaska, I love these words, Alaska 529, Aquagaga, Roma Bistro on the Wharf, the Hangar on the Wharf, and our own local ski area, Eagle Crest. So thank you again to all of those businesses for supporting the Innovation Summit this year. And without further ado, John Straley. So a poet and author, John never saw himself living in Alaska. Now, of course, he can't see himself living anywhere else. He knows the weather and the wild of the place and what the wind will bring, the give of the muskeg underfoot. He's met the characters that fill his books. So, John, off to you.
Thank you very much, Sierra. It's really a great honor to be here with you and to be on this stage, this electronic stage that we all share. I want to give a brief shout out to all my fellow English majors. And the students in the arts. I just want to say that English majors and all the students in the arts have been trained from the beginning of their schoolings to be innovators. Artists are supposed to create things that no one has ever seen before. And so I want to just reiterate, if you're looking for someone to help you with your innovative projects, don't forget the art students and the English majors that are natural innovators. I've been honored to be asked to read a few of my poems. I'd like to start as an example of a poem that's probably hasn't been seen before. This is called Wile E. Coyote Considers the Obvious. You all remember Wile E. Coyote? Well, there seem to be countless roots to my well-planned failures. I really thought the rocket shoes would work. And the anvil carried across the chasm on the tight wire rope seemed reasonable at the time, but now I wonder. I lay in bed this morning, my ears bent, my knees swollen, knowing that he was out there somewhere, but thinking maybe I shouldn't go. Maybe I should stay in bed all day long and read a book or listen to the news on the radio, but truthfully, I'm not meant for that. Too much introspection is bad for a coyote, and besides, my wife doesn't want me around, tapping my toes, fidgeting with the dynamite and the alarm clocks, the bird seed and the suction cups. She says I have to go, that God must have given me this desire for some good reason, even if only to provoke his remote, unfathomable laughter. And what do we get, she says? We get the ability to take a punch and become uncrumpled with every flattening. We can fall through the air all our lives and land virtually unhurt. And besides, what would you do if you caught him? She says, such a skinny bird could not feed you through this long, unknowable life we blunder through day by day by day. So I have two other poems I'd like to share with you. This one is called Getting Glasses. Over the last year, I've lost more members of my friends and family to think about. And I sort of serve a purpose in my family as the poet laureate. And I've been asked to write poems for memorials and weddings and birthdays and births. And it's a great honor to serve that purpose in my family. This is a poem I wrote for the memorial service for my sister-in-law. It's called Getting Glasses. Born with poor eyesight to parents who didn't see you, you started out a hard life without corrective lenses and were raised to love the unlucky ones. You needed to take care of them, but it was that first pair of glasses that changed everything. A blur of callousness snapped into focus. Small insects on the page became words, became stories, becoming the world you walked out into, unafraid. You were ready to love the lonely ones and the others hidden in the shadows. You took care of them and loved their children. But now you are gone. Your baseball teams are still playing, but you are out of sight. How I wish I possessed the right glasses right now to see you, wishing you could snap into focus there in the stands, laughing, cheering, the proxy third base coach, waving frantically for all those you love and were left behind to run home. I moved to Alaska in 1977, and I fell in love with the place. I've written 16 books, 5 books of poetry, and some 10, 11 novels. My newest novel should be out next summer. And then in all of my writing, I've been influenced by the rich culture of the First Peoples of our state. This is a poem I wrote years ago about a ceremony in which a group of men were carving a beautiful totem pole in our park, and they had a ceremony to bless the tools. So I didn't do much of a job with the title of this one. It's called Because You Asked Me What I Was Thinking on the Day I Took My Son Out of School to Watch the Elders Bless a Totem Your Brother So Recently Started. And it's for Dave Galanin, who is a wonderful carver himself, a silver carver. And he's also the father of Nick Galanin, who is an extraordinary artist now, who grew up and became an international star. He is also a musician. Nick is also a musician, just put out a record album with Sub Pop Records. But this is a poem that I wrote for that occasion when I took my son out of school to watch this ceremony. I was thinking that my great-grandfather had been promised a new life in America. He had been a coal miner in Wales, and after he made the journey across the ocean, they had him back in a dark hole, spitting up bloody soot, digging the exact same coal. He hung himself in a silo, my great-grandfather. He was so angry about that hole. Later, my grandfather was spared going to jail for stealing from the railroad and had to live in that same small town in the shadow of that silo, where his wife turned a mean face to the world and his sons learned to forget. So unknown to me, I had been prepared for the day when my father woke up crying and was turned over to a maid. I was told nothing. Anonymous calls came, voices of reporters asking, "Your daddy is crazy. Isn't that true, boy? Your daddy's crazy." My only answer was no, before my mother took the receiver and slammed it down on the desk to walk away. I was thinking this because I wanted to tell you that even white people have been disappointed in this America, that promises easily made are rarely kept by anyone, that the rich may believe they are the owners of this land, but they have no title, and this haunts them becoming the subject of all their literature. I took him from school to tell him that one story is seldom true, that the shame is not the subject of our lives, but acts as the darkness at our backs, orienting us forward toward whatever light there is. I wanted him to see that light for himself, how greatness starts on a particular day, called this lucky day, in a particular place, called this nearly perfect place, where the great people, the Quixote, Coho, Boxhouse, Eagle, Cogwanton, and all of their kin set their differences aside to honor their dead who live all around us all the time, their faces part of this land, part of this sky. I wanted to tell him that if we can just observe greatness, maybe he and I might learn a blessing, not just for the tree, not just for the tools, but for the coal and the corn in the silo where the frayed rope stands ready. Because all we want is to belong. There is no going back to Wales, to Africa, to France. All our dead surround us now, and each child born is coming home to the land where your people learned these devotions and were the first to become fully human in this particular place called the universe. I want to thank you again for inviting me to share some of these words. Thank you.